Hi, everybody. Welcome to the program. I'm so glad you're here. This is going to be just me right now talking to you about stuff. And the topic that I'm going to talk about is something that might interest you if you're a baby boomer, if you're 40 and up, and you never had children but wanted to, right? So I know for a lot of you, you're going to say, "Oh no, I had children and I didn't want to," or "I already had children and I don't want them." But for a lot of women, we did not have children because we were told that we needed to have a career and do all this other stuff. But for whatever reason, you might be interested in this. Also, if you're a woman who has prematurely experienced infertility, this also might be interesting to you. I'm going to see if I can minimize my screen and do this, and we will move forward together as I tell you this story about natural menopause reversal and how you can naturally reverse menopause regardless your age. Okay, so hold on. So I hope that you can see me and hear me and everything. Okay. So I got this information from a woman named Victoria Morton, who is a biological researcher. She's got a degree in biological science. Mostly, she specializes in age reversal and natural healing from the molecular level. She's really an amazing person. Amazing. She's got like 70 years of experience in inventing things and creating formulas and really out of the box thinking when it comes to science, especially natural science. An amazing woman. Her name is Victoria Morton. She owns a company called Suddenly Slender in Florida. If you haven't heard about her, you gotta find her website, suddenlyslender.com, and research of what the body wraps are, because these body wraps are really unique in that they replace trace minerals that are lost as you age. So trace minerals are not something that you can take a supplement and get. Trace minerals are in such minute quantities that a large part of your trace minerals come from the air you breathe, right? So that's pretty interesting stuff. But nonetheless, if you want to restore your fertility, you're going to have to not only continue to take in trace minerals, but you have to make up for the deficit of trace minerals that your body burns just in the course of aging and stress and pollution and polluted air and polluted food and that sort of thing. So anyway, I'm going to go through this article. I hope you find it interesting. If you have any questions, just comment below and I'll see them. And I would love to have an interview with Victoria Morton if I can still find her, because she's a fascinating woman. Anyway, so I hope we're still recording because I just lost the screen. Okay, this is all about natural menopause reversal. So in the not too distant past, the average age of the first time bride was about 22 years old. Generally, her first birth was at about 24 years old. Interesting that today many brides are postponing marriage until after 35, after her career has been established and her life is well underway. Combine that with the fact that many women are also choosing to be married one time, resulting in a wedding later in life, a more thoughtful selection of a mate, and marriage partners who have settled down and have a more planned and defined engagement and marriage. As wedding plans may be delayed for some women, having children has been delayed. According to Sylvia Ann Hewitt, author of A Lesser Life, The Myth of Women's Liberation in America, Ms. Hewitt says that 55% of 35-year-old professional women are childless. Between a third and half of 40-year-old professional women are childless, and the number of childless women 40 to 44 has doubled in the past 20 years. These numbers can be discouraging if you're one of the many women over 40 who desires to have children. Doctors warn that pregnancy to women over 40 can be dangerous for both the mother and the child. Children born to older mothers generally have birth defects and other issues. Recently, a Washington doctor, I read an article, and the Washington doctor was talking about the ethics involved in allowing an older woman to have children, as if it was his opinion or as if it was his decision. Regardless, there is something that happens in a woman's body the older that she gets, the more likely her body is to produce an inaccurate blueprint for cellular reproduction. And this is in part because of the lack of trace minerals and clean water. On the other hand, men can father children as long as they can produce sperm. An erection is not even necessary. Remember, Pablo Picasso fathered children well into his 90s. So where then is it absolutely written that women can no longer produce babies after a certain age? Interesting, researcher Victoria Morton has firsthand knowledge of a woman that is in her early 80s, has used this method of maintaining youth, the method that I'm about to explain to you. But because of this method of trace minerals, clean water, and human growth hormone booster, she is 80 and still has a menstrual cycle, which means she's still fertile. So this is proven science. Okay, so where is it written that women can no longer produce babies after a certain age? If you're having a strong blueprint and you're having a period, then you should be able to have babies, right? Recently, a team of research scientists led by Victoria Morton, an aging and restorative natural medicine researcher, did an investigation on natural ways to reverse menopause. And here in the nutshell are the findings. To understand what's happening in our bodies, let's dissect the information we know. First, what is menopause? As defined by the Council for Affiliated Menopause Studies, menopause is the permanent cessation of menstruation resulting from the loss of ovarian follicular activity, a definition based on the functions of women's endocrine and reproductive systems. Contrary to popular use, the term menopause does not refer to the process of the hormonal change that results in the end of menstruation and fertility. Rather, the menopause is the permanent cessation of a woman's menstrual period. The end of the result is the entire process, the end result of the entire process. So menopause is the end result of the process of the cessation of a menstrual period. Menopause is the result of a series of complex changes in a woman's reproductive function. On average, menopause occurs by the age of 51, although this varies widely and can be influenced by several factors. In the majority of cases, occurs naturally, but there are other conditions that under which menopause can be induced. Chemotherapy, surgery, radiation, to name a few. The normal menstrual cycle depends on a conversation between hormones produced in the brain and hormones produced in the ovaries. The pituitary gland in the brain sends out hormones to the ovaries that cause the release of a new egg from the ovarian follicles each month. The follicles also produce estrogen and progesterone hormones that thicken the lining of the uterus that nourishes the fertilized egg. When this hormonal conversation wanes, the result is a shorter menstrual cycle, decreased ovulation, and diminished production of estrogen and progesterone and menstrual irregularities. Eventually, the ovarian follicles fail to respond entirely, estrogen production decreases dramatically, and menopause, the end of the fertility cycle, ensues. The occurrence of menopause can be identified by either 12 consecutive months without menstruation, in some cases, or by a blood test for blood levels of follicle-stimulating hormones. The symptoms for which menopause is known are actually part of perimenopause, the transitional age between premenopause and menopause. The symptoms for which menopause is known are actually part of premenopause or perimenopause, the transitional stage between the onset of menopause beginning and the end of the process known as menopause. During premenopause, fuels needed to keep the brain sharp are also beginning to diminish. A woman may experience more emotion, sadness, less energy because the serotonin levels, hormone levels, or amino acid levels in her brain change to adjust to her body's changing chemistry. As a woman ages, Her ovaries also become less responsive to hormones produced in the brain. But the question begs to be asked, is it her ovaries with the issue, or is it her brain with the issue and the body mineral chemistry? A main concern in women over 40 becoming pregnant is that on a cellular level, cells can reproduce its DNA and RNA only 500 times before the blueprint becomes a little imperfect. This blueprint is the building framework that your body uses to distribute its organic and inorganic matter to become another human. The more the blueprint is reproduced, it loses a little bit more perfection until the cellular blueprint the cell uses to replicate becomes damaged and results in birth defects. Another major factor in peri and premenopause decline is osteoporosis. The World Health Organization defines osteoporosis in terms of low bone mineral density in relation to the average density found in young adults. A reduction of 1 standard deviation is considered low bone mass osteoporosis, and a reduction of 2.5 or more is considered to be severe osteoporosis. Osteoporosis affects an estimated 20 to 25 million Americans, and this figure is escalating, supports the conclusion that osteoporosis is rapidly becoming an epidemic. Osteoporosis is defined as the marked loss of normal bone density or porous bones. The loss of bone mass is not limited to calcium alone, but also includes collagen, protein, mineral matrix. When you lose the collagen, protein, and mineral matrix, it shows in your skin. It shows in your skin with lack of firmness, lack of water retention, and wrinkles. Osteoporosis consists of the loss of both organic and inorganic mineral parts of the bone. What complicates this issue is that x-rays do not show any mineral loss until it's a 20 to 30% bone loss that's already occurred. And again, there's that word, minerals. The porousness comes from the loss of minerals. Many women are advised to take hormone replacement therapy to prevent postmenopausal bone loss, but this is not without its risks on its own. Potential side effects to hormone replacement therapy include a 4-fold risk of breast cancer and triple the risk of cervical cancer. Calcium is also a widely promulgated remedy, but this is also shown in clinical and epidemiological studies to be of dubious value, primarily because few, if any, of the calcium supplements on the market contain ingredients needed to increase the calcium absorption. According to science, you can take a cup of calcium, and without the proper minerals, your body will only retain and use 2 tablespoons of the cup of calcium. Natural ways recommended to deal with menopause include regular exercise, eating lots of grains and vegetables, and more recently, animal proteins. Although animal proteins are full of hormones themselves, the animals we eat are vegetarians. They eat green grass that grows out of the rocks and soil. There's a lot of minerals in grains and vegetables as well. In his book, Medicinal Herbal Therapy, A Pharmacist Viewpoint, registered pharmacist Stephen G. Atenario says that certain vitamins and minerals can produce particular benefits to menopausal women. These include vitamin E, 400 to 800 units daily, helps reduce hot flashes and night sweats. Calcium, 1,500 milligrams daily. The best type of calcium is not calcium carbonate, which may be not fully absorbed, but microcrystalline calcium, hydroxyapatite calcium, or MCHC, or calcium citrate. Magnesium, 500 to 700 milligrams daily, is essential to help with the absorption of calcium. 1,000 milligrams of vitamin C to 2,000 milligrams daily helps absorption of vitamin E and decreases capillary fragility. Now, if we look at the mineral content of our bodies in relation to the Earth's body, simply stated, when the Earth was created, it was given a perfect balance of minerals. That balance of soluble minerals is found in the fluids of the earth and or the seas. This is the same basic balance of mineral we find in the human body. When we get away from this balance, we find degenerative disease will also set in. Also basic to the rejuvenating of good health is the restoration of the original mineral balance. A few interesting facts about seawater, which is perfect balanced water, right? 84% of the Earth's basic elements have been identified in seawater. 44 are considered to be the most common soluble minerals. Man is unable to make seawater from scratch. All the seas of the Earth basically contain the same balance of minerals, including Utah's Great Salt Lake, which I thought was pretty interesting. Most of the minerals found in seawater are found in such small quantities that they're called trace minerals. In human nutrition, some of these trace minerals are also important that they're labeled necessary for life. Others can be found in the human body, but science has not yet determined what, if anything, these minerals do. Parts per million does not mean almost non-existent. For instance, there is more gold in a ton of seawater than in a ton of good to average gold ore. The more our soils are tilled and exposed to weather, the faster the soluble minerals are leached out and sent on their way to the sea. If the minerals are not available in the soil, they will not be found in the plants. The mineral content in plants can vary as much as 200%, 1,000% in some specific minerals. General functions performed by soluble minerals are: they are iodized conductors of the body's electrical current for necessary body functions. They are catalysts and activators of other nutrients. They are building blocks of enzymes, hormones, and other natural body chemicals used by the body to perform specific functions. They are equalizing and balancing effects of body fluids, fluid pressures, and pH. They are balanced with minerals. In the absence of certain trace minerals, certain heavy minerals are more likely to accumulate. Trace minerals are often administered in hospitals as part of a treatment, such as disorders as lead poisoning. Digestion and assimilation, minerals are essential. High amounts of chlorides are necessary for the body to make hydrochloric acid. Others are used in the assimilation of nutrients in the process. Specific mineral nutrients have many functions. I believe that many of these functions are yet to be discovered. So if we look at the chemical analysis of water that's provided by Professor Charles B. Gibson of Chicago, Illinois, there is water temperature of 87 degrees, a total residue of 87.9, and I could go down through these measurements, but they probably won't mean anything. But they're inorganic and non-volatile, organic and volatile, sulfate of sodium, sulfate of potassium, sulfate of calcium, nitrite of magnesium, iron sesquioxide, alumina, silica. And these are probably in grains per gallons. And if you want this information, I'd be happy to send it to you. So that's kind of the trace minerals that are in seawater. So let's look at the words fertile or fertility. What does that mean? To produce plentifully, fertile soil is enriched with nutrients and minerals from the earth. If the soil in a farm is overcultivated and the nutrients depleted, it's said to be barren or simply not fertile. So if your diet is rich in organic grains and vegetables, clean animal proteins, no hormones, no antibiotics, no injected, no tainted feeds, and plenty of fresh, unfluoridated, non-chlorinated, distilled water flowing down deep streams in the high in the Alps, then you can bathe in thermal mineral springs, then you really have nothing to worry about. But in the event that you don't have a diet rich in organic grains and vegetables, and you don't eat non-tainted meat, and you don't get a lot of unfluoridated water, and you're not in the Alps, and if you're not in a cold stream and you're bathing in a mineral spring, then you do have something to concern about. Mineral-wise and fertility-wise, the chances that you'll be fertile in old age are not good unless you are totally saturated in trace minerals. But who has a life like that, right? We're running from one stressful event to another, eating fast food or food grown on depleted soil, drinking sodas instead of pure water, getting very little sleep, getting any real exercise. We stress about everything we love and everyone we love. We stress about the little things, even the little things that just seem to eat us up as well. All that living is going to be our demise. In sum, the secret to natural menopause reversal is the replacement of the minerals and other factors that are essential for the body to maintain health. And not the colloidal minerals. I'm not talking about colloidal minerals. That's not it. What's needed is a much greater saturation than that. We're talking about a whole body mineral replacement therapy. What one consumes in a drink or in a pill is not nearly enough, simply because the average body needs more minerals and organic and inorganic matter than that. Remember, the skin is the main organ of assimilation and elimination. So I got to thinking about Victoria Morton's theory on replacing your body's lost trace minerals, boosting your human growth hormone, and plenty of fresh fruits and vegetables and clean water. And I got to thinking about this when a close friend of mine in her 50s stopped having her period. She worked real hard. She was an overachieving professional, worked 7 days a week. Feeling stressed out and overwhelmed, she went to a thermal spa in Europe for a 2-week visit. And after 2 weeks of eating well and eating clean water and soaking in mineral springs, she started her period. Yeah, even when she returned to the US, she was still ovulating. She was able to maintain that and then figured out what was happening. And so she and Victoria figured out this is this could have been the cause of her restarting her period. So we have determined that menopause is most likely caused by the body being depleted of essential vitamins and minerals, RNA and DNA loss resulting in the imperfect production of the DNA blueprint, human growth hormone declining, and a decline in bone density. You know what? Victoria tried her theory out, and did it ever work? It absolutely worked. It absolutely worked. At this time of writing this, when I wrote this, this woman, Victoria Morton, herself, 80 years old, does these mineral saturating body wraps, eats clean food. She's not perfect, but she eats clean fruits and vegetables. She drinks clear distilled water, and she still has a period. And if she's still having a period and it's a good, healthy period, then she's still fertile and she's 80 years old. Let me caution you, though. If you intend to bear healthy children, you must boost your RNA and DNA production because they are essential to a solid cellular framework. Remember the blueprint? Most importantly, you must up your human growth hormone levels as well. The controversy with human growth hormone, or HGH, is that the levels are way too high. It can cause complications. So taking human growth hormone injections at $10,000 each is not only costly, but it's dangerous. Every one of us has our own particular levels of HGH and other growth nutrients. Who knows how much of an injection is too much for you? Optimum circumstances are that your body produces its own human growth hormone and perfected RNA and DNA. Today on the marketplace, there are these homeopathic catalysts available that will boost your own human growth hormone. Boost your human growth hormone, removing the toxic waste from the cells and interstitial fluid in the body, and restoring original minerals, vitamins, and nutrients in the body lost in the aging process. It's not only probable, but possible to reverse menopause and reverse infertility and restore fertility. Overall, in this theory, in this practice, because it's not a theory, it's a practice because it's been done, and the woman is still alive and still having a period, and if you want to contact her, I'm sure you can. Overall, it's of paramount importance to keep the body clean and free of toxins when you're pregnant. To keep the body in top shape before and after your pregnancy, you need to keep active. Eat fresh, healthy foods, organic fruits and vegetables. By organic, I don't mean has a molecule of carbon. By what organic, I mean no pesticides, right? So pesticide-free fruits and vegetables, range-fed animal proteins, and plenty of pure, clean, distilled water. Do a monthly mineral saturating body wrap to saturate the skin and internal organs in minerals and nutrients that are essential for life, as we read before. You'll want to take a catalyst supplement for RNA, DNA production, and a human growth hormone activator or booster are also necessary for a healthy pregnancy and baby. Using these items with a highly absorbing multivitamin keeps cellular production perfect by the body's own unique standards, right? So what did these women do that restored their fertility? Okay, I'm going to go over this again real quick. What did these women do that restored their fertility? Minimize toxins in their bodies by saturating their bodies inside and out with minerals and nutrients that are essential for life via hydrating trace mineral body wrap. They exist on the marketplace. Started eating better. Started eating more regularly. Started eating fresh fruits and vegetables that were pesticide free. Started being aware of their sleep cycles and honoring their digestion cycles. Started exercising regularly, moderate exercise every day. They endeavored each day to be positive and know that their bodies were changing and getting better, and they were about to be able to get pregnant again. They were taking a clean homeopathic RNA DNA stimulator. They began taking a product to promote their own human growth hormone production. And when they could no longer steep in a mineral spring in the Alps, they got mineral replacing body wraps. It's that simple. A doctor would prescribe none of these things because they're all things that just make common sense. This method is way less expensive than fertility treatments, and it works. And I would venture a guess that if your man is having a problem helping you conceive, then maybe you both ought to consider this method of restoring fertility so that you can have children. Anyway, regardless of what happens, you're going to benefit because the plan contributes to overall good health in the body anyway. So it works. It absolutely works. If you want to know more about natural menopause reversal, email me, info@goldengirls.tv or kmrapanmedia@gmail.com. I'd love to tell you what you want to know, and I'll connect you with anybody that I can to help you get the information you need. Anyway, this is kind of long. I appreciate you sitting with me on this. I think the information is fascinating, and I hope you got something out of it. Call me when you can. Bye for now.